Gents, we're about to move across to Dust 2 now between Astralis and EnVyUs, where I'm sure Astralis will hope to have a much better performance than their Nuke, which ended 16-4. So their first match of the new season of ECS, not off to a great start, but they'll be looking to make amends here.
Yeah, not at all. It seemed like just a map that it was more than just the map that was the issue, right? I mean, losing an anti-eco after going down so much in the first half. I mean, a lot of it had to do with just a momentum swing. We had 3 clutch rounds that could have gone the way of Astralis. Actually, it was 2 1v2s and 1 1v3 that they should have won. So essentially, they could have had a much better half just off of those crazy clutch rounds that were the result of Happy and SIXER contributing. So yeah, maybe it could have been a different story on a different day where those clutches didn't happen. But now we get to go to Dust 2. And it'll be a thing in terms of comfort zone a lot nicer for Astralis, but not unfamiliar to EnVyUs either. And so the challenge may be greater on both sides.
Well, absolutely not. I mean, there's certainly a chance that EnVyUs just steamroll this map as well. But in terms of being able to get away with more pug-centric strats, you know, with Glaive just coming in, I think Dust 2 is a lot more, you know, friendly environment in that way, and one that Astralis will certainly fancy themselves to maybe even take. But KennyS in particular, alongside Apex, were the 2 standout performers, and of course Dust 2, as ever, an AWPers playground. Really, we're expecting KennyS to go off again.
Yeah, you got the round starts right as someone peeks mid-door, so like 3 seconds in every single round. That's a really great opportunity if you have a good opper to use him. I mean, once you go there, he moves over, like from the CT side, you move over to the right a little bit, you peek someone coming down cat, no one comes down cat, well, then you can actually, there's a lower peek that you can do. You can move over to the B side. There's a lot of options, really quick options to kick off the round as an opper. So KennyS, a player who's got an itchy trigger finger, will have a lot of opportunities to show his skills.
So who are you really looking at here? Obviously, you've got a bit of time to fill. Who are you looking at for Astralis to step up and maybe counteract some of that aggression?
It's going to be like Device, I think, will be the man to pick. It seemed like he was picking up the op a couple of times on Nuke, and it was funny because Device was always the better, like, I think it was like Fetish would always op, and then Device would pick up the op sometimes. Device was always the better opper. So, like, it's just weird because he's also just the best rifler. So you're like, do you want to have your do you want to have someone who's very good with a rifle ever pick up an op? Shouldn't you just have someone who can't really rifle that well pick up an op? But now they're in a position where they don't have, I guess, a dedicated opper, and so he's going to be the man to do it. But he did lose a couple of duels to KennyS. You know, KennyS is definitely a better one. So I guess in general.
Well, when KennyS is on form, there's very few AWPers that can stand toe-to-toe with him. But here we go. We are going to be live into map number 2. Astralis will be looking to get this off to a solid start as they start on the T side. Again, Dust 2, for me, is very down the middle in terms of which side it favors. I'd say maybe slightly CT, but you can see a lot of terrorist teams take this to pieces as well. So it should be a close map. At least I hope so.
Yeah. It seems a lot of teams are throwing this Xbox smoke, whether or not they want to use it, just to create the suspicion that it might be a cat take, and that forces the CTs to rotate. Really nice to always throw that here. In this situation, they've walked up cat, yeah, obviously guised their movement by walking, but seem to have an interest in actually taking it.
And with SIXER watching mid, he will spot a couple players pushing his location. If not, he would have seen them go into lower tunnels. So a key part of the map, and he's going to come around with another frag, and a second one as well. He's looking for a third. A player that's been under a lot of scrutiny recently is going to land a third frag, and he could be on for more. Device is going to be charged down. You can see the confidence oozing through him. It's going to cost him his life, but he's done his job. And NBK and Happy will round things off nicely. Very well played by SIXER, and EnVyUs will start on the lead once again. Even
getting the extra little bit of damage on that last player, and that was attempted to just be a walkout mid-B, but it was spotted immediately. The smoke clearly thrown from just not from a set position behind Xbox, just almost not right-clicked, but tossed as they walked out the door, and they couldn't get away with that. So Astralis getting right in their face is always nice to do when you catch a walkout such as that. Now it's going to be what looks like a default, but with some guns. Ooh, dupreeh actually getting taken down in upper very quickly. Not sure if this will throw a fork in their plans. It seems like 4 players on cat might have had another strategy in their playbook to begin with.
So interesting enough, EnVyUs going for 4 SMGs into this round. And Device does pick up a scout. I mean, it's one of those maps where these kind of first round buys, you're expecting to see some scouts in play, but NBK using the MP7 to lead the first frag. And the second one, Apex coming up from behind with the UMP, puts Zipex down, leaving Device and his aforementioned scout in a 1-on-4. Does land the first, can't connect the second one, has Deagle too. plenty of firepower, but he's about to be encircled. And it's kennyS who puts the frag down and adds quite a bit of money towards his AWP fund.
Yeah, it's a very expensive habit to get that off, but because they got that pistol, they're supplementing their income really nicely. Astralis now, I mean, I'm not even sure what the intent is to do. It's just that EnVyUs got in their face really early on, and have decided, and we're able to steer the boat. So here, not a single smoke in anybody's hands. I'm not sure if they've thrown anything already, but are just patiently waiting. And it's always frustrating having to make your clocks go the distance, but sometimes the patience will pay off. Here's a push from Happy. Maybe will be traded. Oh, reload comes out a little bit too early, and the kill goes down. Yeah.
You used 10 bullets, mate. He's still got 20 left. It's not going to cost him a great deal, just an MP9, but that's a bit of a head-scratching moment, isn't it? Especially in that location. Like, you have to assume if there's a terrorist there, there's likely to be 2 or 3 more close by.
Yeah, you always want to assume that someone's there to trade. I mean, you don't really have a default where one person is just top mid for no reason, but who knows what was going through the brain and mustache of Happy.
Well, at the end, a bullet. He got completely wrecked off the Glock. But it's okay. You can replenish into an M4. In fact, he's actually gone for another MP9 up against full Kevlar up AKs. So that could be a weapon that's a bit of a liability for EnVyUs. But they have a 3-0 lead. They've been here before on Nuke. Astralis going to be playing this one slow and steady for now. Looking to pretty much standard terrorist start, honestly. Take control of the catwalk, sit in mid for a little bit, see if the CT show any weaknesses.
Oh, there's actually kennyS to just walk up of Cat, find Kjaerbye, just kicking it. I mean, just waiting in that situation. Device also finding a kill here, and we're seeing kind of what happened on Nuke, where we had a default after a quick 3-0 start by EnVyUs, and 2 players winning their duels. Oh, actually, one was in response. My mistake. It's actually 4-4.
It is Kjaerbye dead, though, for Astralis, who's a guy that you really do expect quite a lot from. Coming up now is going to be into the hands of kennyS, who goes for the flick, not going to quite land. It goes on the second time. He's going to be pushing back in with the Tech 9. That's just ruthless aggression. The confidence of Kenny to go for that repeat twice.
What can you say? He just stands up there. First of all, stays on the ledge, knowing that if he times this properly, he's not going to miss again, and he's right about it. But then after that, staying there longer, only to repeat with the Tech 9. Glaive assumes he's definitely going to go and hide. Well, that was a really nice couple of flashes from dupreeh to try to get that kill, but there was a man to help him out, and now the bomb is just left in a spot. I mean, he's basically mollying himself off of this, and with no time remaining, no way to recover this. But there's also going to be a CT here to try to get this kill, and it might be after time. No, Xyp9x wins the duel. That's really good for him. I mean, and after time death in this situation would have been hard to recover from. $700 no gun. Oh my gosh, that's a really big burden on your whole team.
For sure. Plus, they got 4 frags onto EnVyUs in that round, so that's a lot of weapons that have to be rebought. As kennyS is the play. I mean, a lot of AWPers, after missing that first shot, would just they'd just say peace, and they'd be off into CT. They'd be off like relocating onto the car.
Because they're kind, respectful CS:GO players.
Kenny's feeling it right now, and that's a pretty scary place to be for any adversaries. Astralis 4-0 behind. They do have the AK. They're not going to force up behind it too much. They've got a minimal investment on dupreeh. Kjaerbye, they've got a flashbang on Glaive, but that's pretty much all they have into this round. And kennyS could be in the thick of the frags again. The flashbang does land, but it's going to be clearing. And here we go. He's going to be landing that first headshot. Here comes Apex from the side, doing so much damage with the M4 and the grenade on top of it. 3 kills in quick succession. And Kjaerbye's Deagle is not going to get anything out of this round afterwards. 5-0 now for EnVyUs. Astralis will have a bye.
Damn, this is really hard to watch. It's just Envy just getting everything going. They've got tons of money right now. kennyS is hitting everything that he needs to and more. We see Apex with a really nice support in this situation. 3 headshots after a little bit of a long spray. No matter, cleans it up. And now it's just up to Astralis to. I mean, they've got to be the ones to kind of try to dictate the pace right now. And we've seen them get kind of thinned out in their default, and then attempt to trade a kill, but it's been EnVyUs players to get more than one with no response.
Once again, similar to Nuke, we haven't really seen a great deal from Astralis to get excited about, honestly. It has been a very much a shutout performance by EnVyUs. Again, similar setup to what we saw 2 rounds prior. Astralis just taking control over Connector. Kjaerbye the first player in. Very spread across the map though here, Launders. I mean, they're not really committing to anything as of yet.
Yeah, they even have done this when they have lost a man. I mean, they don't. I actually wonder, and we'll take note of this, whether or not they do tighten up once they get a kill, or what their response is when they don't get the opening kill. I mean, it has been envy to get the opening kill quite often. I mean, we can give them that, and that's something hard to say that Astralis did wrong. I mean, on T side, you're looking for these duels. If you can find them 50-50, why not? Your terrorist lives are not nearly as important, considering that you're grouped and you're going to be going into the faces of 1 or 2 CTs at most. But 30 seconds remain. They've gotten no map control. Typically, it takes less than a minute to get up cat, and okay, there's 1 kill on a player pushing long. Kjaerbye also falling off a short and finding Apex. dupreeh gets one on NBK, and Kenny S is left alone on the site.
The first one though, 15 seconds left.
Oh my god, what a shot!
Device, and the bomb's been dropped now. The time's only 10 seconds. It just takes SIXER to land a couple of headshots here, and that could be the round out. Instead, he will go down, but Kenny S again. This guy's on fire right now. 8 and 3 with the frags he's got.
You had to assume that was going to be a moment. You had to assume that it was about to get really, really ugly in the similar fashion that we saw on Nuke. And there's Kenny S to get that. Oh, that second kill was beautiful. So stops the bomb plant. It's just as important as it is flashy. Wow. Well, almost what a round by him. I mean, even if his teammate hadn't pushed long in that situation, they probably would have just been able to close that out.
Kenny with yet another kill onto device. Glaive will be picking up the AWP. Trying to make something of it as he goes towards mid. Looks like a hyper-aggressive play here with the AWP actually pop flashing their way out into CT spawn. Trying to catch EnVyUs in rotation. dupreeh in the meanwhile is going to make a solid effort onto B. NBK gets taken out, and as we can see, we have the benefit of this, obviously, Astralis don't. B is completely open, but Kenny S comes back in with another kill. The bomb's been dropped. Glaive answers back onto SIXER. And the pendulum of Counter-Strike continues to go back and forth. 2-on-2 now. The bomb still hasn't been picked up for the terrorists, and that pop flash will end the life of Glaive. All on dupreeh. Could get the drop on Happy, but now his position is compromised. Lands the headshot. What is that?
I'm not even sure. I mean, Happy just jumping around in that situation knows that dupreeh was there. I guess as soon as he spotted him, tried to get the cover. But now is the mind game. Where did Kenny S go? He was on cat. He's obviously left the bomb. Now dupreeh's going to be walking up and maybe assuming that he's trying to retake in a situation, but he's got to also consider, did he go on the ramp? Or has he played long? I mean, Car would be the spot to be at, but it looks like he's not going to find him there. And now we'll be able to play the 1v1. Kenny S has also gambled and gone over to B, which is something you need to do, is assume that they're going to go one side. This could be a 50-50. dupreeh is also obviously in a big advantage right now. Kenny S very low on HP. And finally landing the Xbox jump. We're going to make this retake.
Come down to the next shot because Kenny's only on 19 health. dupreeh is still on. He's been spotted. It gets tagged up through the box. Kenny just needs to land one more shot and this round will be his. dupreeh still behind the boxes. And Kenny is looking for that wall bang. He's going to have to push in. Narrowly misses out on this next opportunity. He does have a kit, so he's got a bit of time to play with. The USP could be good enough, but there's the dupreeh headshot. Kenny S will not be getting a clutch just yet, but even the rounds he's losing, he is pushing Astralis to their limit.
Yeah, he must have been. I mean, dupreeh must have been shaking in his booties right there. There's a nice entry, though. Good call out to slowly peek that box. And that's a really nice kill. I mean, he was partially blind. That makes it so much harder to hit that shot. But at the end of the day, Astralis win the 2 in a row, which is critical. It's actually EnVyUs on a save right now would have been Astralis on what would have been probably a double save if they lost that round. So huge clutch. Huge clutch.
Deagle, but runs head first into a Deagle round. That's going to leave a mark, and Glaive is momentarily silenced. dupreeh will at least answer back onto B. There is NBK stood tall in the boxes as well, who has done a little bit of damage to dupreeh, enough to force him back for now. Lands the headshot on the retreat. You know, it's looking a bit sketchy when Apex landed the first couple of Deagle shots, but since then it's been one-way traffic in the favor of Astralis, and it's all unhappy with his 5-7.
I love that flash just activated the mouse one at the doors. Apex just starts firing off. Glaive's got to be very salty about that. And it was, the coordinated double flash too. Make sure this guy can't see forever. But now Astralis get those 3 rounds. That was a really big lifeline from that clutch. But here, EnVyUs won't have to double save themselves. And Kjaerbye has actually picked up a Glass Cannon AWP. And it's always, I mean, it's always good. I mean, it's not that big of a disadvantage to do this double push upper. They're committing to it really hard and actually come away with a frag. dupreeh loses out, and oh my gosh, Kjaerbye is alerted to look into CT and finds a kill because of it.
Man, EnVyUs are just, with surgical precision, annihilating Astralis. You just can't get a foothold into this round. I mean, they got pushed from 3 different locations, from the CTs, and just like that, it's pretty much all over. Happy's round the back of them. He's going to come head-to-head with Device fairly shortly, who has an AWP, so you'd fancy Device's chances. Down goes Happy. Still 1 minute and 3 to play with, and it's a 4-on-2. Positions for EnVyUs looking fairly good right now, but it only takes 1 more kill, Lornas, and this round could open up again for the T's.
Absolutely. It's not over quite yet. It's still the onus is on Astralis to try to get a kill or 2 to make it possible. I mean, we actually have Kjaerbye pushing in this situation, which doesn't seem like one where you'd want to, but has also found a very safe angle to hold down in case the rotate is long, so he can give his teammates some peace of mind. He's done a good job of making presence in different spots. You have to wonder, however, like what is the value in not smoking mid B when you're running out? I mean, even if it's while you're out already, he would have saved themselves a frag, but you're gonna have a push into the B site. Oh, and actually catches an Apex off guard. NBK, however, as a solo man on, gets a very important kill for himself. 1v2 now.
Xypex is keeping the dreams alive, especially if he gets this spray down into SIXER. Not going to quite work, but had he have landed it, the bomb would have been very much available for the plant. He was running low on time, but would have just had about enough. EnVyUs do convert their blisteringly fast round going their way. However, they did lose a few more weapons, so now Apex is going to get dropped to FAMAS. You can see the funds there of EnVyUs, apart from, I think, one player who's about 1,000. The rest of them are incredibly low on funds. So Astralis could very well bounce back into this one, and a 1-for-1 trade on long is not a bad little turn of events. It is going to be a 2-for-2 though, as Apex does get the burn onto Xypex. He does claim the frag just beforehand. This is where KS can shine, and another flick shot. He just doesn't stop. He's not letting up. The pressure is being applied, and Astralis cannot deal with KS. Another 2 kills, and that flick is just unreal.
How many degrees was that from so far away into the air? Just skeet shooting. This, I need to... What? He's barely in his scope. Oh my gosh. What is in those fingers?
Just getting flashbacks of the KS of old. Some of the shots he's been landing today have been beautiful. And now Astralis, who I was saying before about how EnVyUs' economy was lackluster, well, so was the T's. So now back onto another eco. EnVyUs should be padding the stats a little bit in this round, you'd assume. Now it would appear we're going to have a 2-pronged attack onto A. We had Xypex trying to push through long. He has already been tagged, though, down at 74. And now Kenny, who went for that flash, is going to come through, and it's a 2-for-1 shot. Of course it is. They line up for him, he knocks them down, and it just continues. This is a bit rough to watch for Astralis, but I mean, it's poetry in motion from Kenny S.
Definitely beautiful to watch from him at 15-5. And this is exactly what I was curious about from following the last map, as he didn't have that much room to shine just because the map ended so early and because Apex was picking up so many frags going in first, having so much mobility, not opping. But here, yeah, as we talked about, just him, you know, coming back, coming alive, and Astralis are having so much trouble now, and it's weird because it's just so much individual performance, but there's also, you have to take that into account just because of how many options you have on Dust 2, that you are going to run into whoever wants to find you on CT side. The rotations are very easy.
Kjaerby's going to be trying to bait somewhat up on the catwalk, throwing out the decoy. They do have another one in Glaive's hands if they want to try and have similar ideas elsewhere on the map. But Astralis seem to have lacked that punch, you know, getting through onto the sites. Unless they can take down Kenny S, they've really struggled to really get started in these rounds. So it is a bit of a worrying trend.
One thing I don't like is that they just take so long in their default, and they haven't gotten any control except for Cat, which is so standard. I mean, if they do something else now, then we're still on pace. But we saw in previous rounds where they just have sat sat up there and then had only time to execute one option, which wasn't even optimal for them. So here's going to be a mid-B smoke. It looks like, oh, that's a really cool smoke to stop from anybody who's boosted up. The Glave's going to walk out. SIXER, however, from the window, along with NBK, are going to tether to get 3 kills for themselves and lock down B. The site's been compromised, but he's still alive.
Oh, Device taking down KennyS, though, is going to put a spanner in the works. I was about to say, with 4 players left, this is very doable for the CTs, but suddenly that manpower has been cut in half. 6 is down to 14 as well.
That was something of a ridiculous push. A lifeline, however, and whoa! SIXER calling out this push. Now Device, 1v1. Low HP on SIXER, but he's got an op. Almost won't matter.
Can he land the shot? And of course he can. SIXER, who was very low, did get 3 kills into this round, but Device is going to keep Astralis into the map. EnVyUs will be able to rebuy. It's going to be nothing too spectacular. Yeah. A great hold for Astralis, all things considered. That was a 2v4.
I guess, yeah, but like it's just such a lack of discipline on Apex's part to run through that window, because and you can call it a lack of discipline because if you're going to run through that window, that means your teammates got to be running through the door. There's absolutely no value in you running through by yourself if you're going to 100% take a fight, right? At least at the very minimum have someone there to trade. But that was almost a situation where maybe he missed his top key and was like, let's go, and decided to go, or he decided not to say anything and run through. But either way, it wasn't a worthwhile opportunity. They would have had a good split. Overall, it still would have been unfavorable, but that was even worse, I think, in terms of odds.
It's pretty telling, too, that Astralis, after winning a round, are still into a Tech9 and Deagle. I mean, they've been struggling so much to get any kind of economy rolling, any kind of bomb plants so far.
I like that they favor utility at the very least. Like, sometimes teams will just try to get, you know, the biggest guns they possibly can because everybody wants to get a kill, but the utility can work its magic. And having a Tech9 is not a huge disadvantage. You run faster, still kill people pretty quick, and you also just pick up guns.
Very true. There are 2 orbs to contend with. SIXER has the second one. Of course, Kenny, once again, is going to be around the long car side, as we've seen time and time again. SIXER's using his AWP. Meanwhile, the back of B, dupreeh, is currently toying with the idea of going through with the smokes. NBK, in the meanwhile, is going to be holding the close angle. This could be a complete massacre. He's going to be pushing through. They're actually blocking each other. Device, in the meanwhile, is waiting outside the smoke. NBK could be walking right into death, but instead it's going to be SIXER who puts down the hammer. Zipex elsewhere on the map is going to put out SIXER with the Galil. Now NBK, they've actually traded places. He's gone into B tunnels instead, giving up B control, and Kjaerbye alongside Zipex will oblige with frag. So it's looking pretty good for EnVyUs, for Astralis, pardon me. EnVyUs to actually save their weapons, Astralis to take the round.
They just, I guess, brute forced their way in, got the site, got guns, and yeah, off of that really tattered buy, that isn't a round that they shouldn't have come across easily. End up with 4 alive, but here they're chasing, even though they just have lost so much money. I guess they smell blood and they realize that. I mean, they just don't want to have a hard time on their hands next round. But yeah, and then this op seems really precious as well. But again, you just don't want the people to die because you've just got to worry about your own income as well. Typically, you chase when you've got enough money to lose.
Sure, you've got to focus on your own game too. Well, taking that up away from Kenny would have been ideal, but instead they are going to have a full buy, whereas EnVyUs, unless they want to force behind the AWP and the M4, this is going to be a fairly lackluster arsenal of equipment that they have in their belts, and indeed they will not be force buying.
8-5. KennyS has an op. Abby has a rifle as well. Oh, the opening kill. They tried to grab it really quickly. Hasn't come quite yet. dupreeh's taken a spot of damage, and no waves have been made. The op has been knocked down, but there is also someone there to pick it up, and we'll maybe get to see how good Apex is with this gun.
A pretty standard setup as well for EnVyUs now, all things considered. Sometimes you see in these kind of rounds like a stack onto a site, but I suppose the AWP and the M4 is going to go some way if going to make a real go of this round. The problem is the Glavers came through with the M4 and has sprayed down 2 of the defenders. It's all on the AWP. Started in the hands of KennyS, is now transitioned across to Apex, and well, definitely has half a mind to just try and save.
It hasn't been. It's not a particularly telling stat. It's one of the most. What?
Rip.
Was that? Oh my God! What? Was that through like off the corner of the smoke? That was a very, very, very tight angle. We must barely have been able to see him. But peace, kid. Peace, kid. Super nice stuff. Yeah, and I want to say, like, Glaive, even though it's not a very telling stat, your HSP does say how proficient you are with your rifles to some degree. I mean, it's not very, it doesn't really it isn't impossible to discern whether or not you're a good player off of this stat, is what I'm trying to say, but it is kind of cool to see a high HSP, and I think Glaive has a very, very high HSP. Nice couple of kills from NBK, however, to stop that B push, and it seemed like Astralis were doing a lot of B aggression early on, at least in the tunnel, just to make sure there were no pushes, because EnVyUs had just run through that tunnel at least once or twice.
By HSP, of course, you mean headshot percentage. Gives you a solid idea as to where the aim's roughly resting, but those opening 2 kills, Astralis were looking to bring this back to a very even 8-7 scoreline. It looks like that could be a little bit too far away from them at this point. Kjaerbye, Zipex, and Device does have the AWP, have a long way to go, but that's the first step of many, as Happy is going to be eviscerated and will play no further part of this half. Kenny S, in the meanwhile, moving back to Goose. Toes were getting burnt, has to relocate. Astralis setting up for this A hit.
Having to avoid a... Ooh. I'm not sure if he spots anybody. It looks like some damage has been dealt. Yes. Will he get another kill? He does. Another headshot and spots the 3rd player, the last man alive on Cat. That's Device. 30 seconds remain. He's got the bomb. He's pushing back. Somebody jumped up on Xbox. NBK is going to be a problem for him, and yes, is the man to take him down. So 9-6 now, and Kenny S 17-7. Monster kills in the rounds where he did have impact, for sure.
Apex on 9 for 9, but it's the T side coming up, so you're expecting to see some entries. You're expecting to see some fireworks from him now. But yeah, Kenny just hasn't really let up, has he? He's consistently been landing those shots, some crazy flicks.
Yeah. I mean, amazing flicks, really. You don't see those shots every day. Now, what do you have? 5 armor, not a single kit. Interesting from Astralis. I wonder why they do this. Typically, you'd think one person has to get a kit, especially at the pro level, but maybe they're confident they can stop the plant.
Well, confidence is going to be running high, but so is NBK's Deagle work onto Kjaerbye. B taken in a heartbeat. And this is where the kit could really sting Astralis, or the lack of kit, I should say. Because B itself is going to be hard enough to retake at the best of times, but you're going to be dwindling down that time ever so quickly now. Glaive is going to land a headshot on the approach onto Apex. He'll take a backflip to his death. And SIXER is in prime position to strike onto Glaive, and indeed he'll do just that. So it looks like the hopes and the aspirations of getting this retake looking slim to none. They just got a whole lot worse. Device actually back at the T-spawn. Has some Kevlar to save, I guess.
Maybe they knew they had no chance of winning the round, so they decided to get all armor. Well, like, we just got it. We definitely have to hit shots right now. But there it is, 10th round for EnVyUs, a third pistol in the series, I guess you could say. There's 2 best of 1s, but 3 pistols, I think, out of the 2 maps we've seen. And just a Deagle entry. I didn't even realize that was a Deagle shot. It's just not as satisfying on the pistol run to have a Deagle, just because like you don't get that dink, you know.
Yeah, it's always more satisfying to take down someone that's like invested a good 4, 5, 6K and like
that's true,
rifle,
yeah.
Kevlar.
One degging an offer.
One deg, get wrecked.
Yeah, one of the best feelings in this game for sure.
Pretty tilting if you're on the receiving end of it. Now Astralis will go into a force buy. That flashbang lands in both the eyes of the Ts and the CTs, and 1-for-1 trade actually won't be too terrible for the CTs, but it just got a little bit worse, and this is what we're expecting to see from Apex. Aggressive plays out first for his team, taking point, landing those opening picks. There is still a Scout and a Deagle in play for Astralis, so if they can stay long range at arm's reach, maybe that's where the one-taps can come in.
Those were actually some fantastic flashes. I mean, and catching dupreeh backpedaling into spawn, assuming that they might rotate through lower tunnels. And now, because of that, realizing that there probably somebody has just completely conceded B, to be right about that. They've also got Happy to make sure that no one can rotate through spawn to him, and will just eventually take the round into his own hands, killing Glaive, leaving Device alone.
Good luck to you, Device. Has just over $1,100 to save if he so chooses, and looks like he's more opting for an exit frag. He can hear the footsteps of Happy, has just spotted a glimpse of his head, and will convert it into a frag. SIXER's next up the plate and will answer back, so nothing will be taken out of this round for Astralis, who will be into an eco, and EnVyUs have every chance to extend their lead to 6 now.
It might very well, yeah, I don't even know if they almost certainly will just take this round straight up. And the strategy here is to grab your MAC-10, or your smaller guns, I mean MAC-10 specifically in this situation, and try to funnel as many kills as possible into them. And I like these late flashes and just holding out a nade, because typically you don't have like CTs come into the corner unless they got the best spawn on CT side, then you can go for that op peek. But otherwise, terrorists are typically going to have to wait for, in this meta, a flash to come out and then a few CTs to peek. So being one step ahead means terrorists just straight up running out and using nades late as well.
So follow Nico. Oh goodness, Apex with the triple spray down, all headshots.
Inaccuracy, huh? My gosh, all headshots from that far away.
You're not expecting anything for Astralis in that round, seeing as it was full USPs, but still, to get that level of spray. There we go again, pretty beautiful stuff.
Wow.
Destroyed. 12-6. Astralis will have an AWP. No kits though.
Oh, and we have the, Happy saving the MAC-10, I think, as you pointed out the other day, just because they realize the low buy that Astralis have forced up on their second round, so they probably won't buy head armor. They'd be right about that. And the opening pick, again, going to KennyS, of course.
Why? Who else would it be?
Who else would it be? Play the ad-lib.
On the T side, SIXER actually has the AWP instead. Was picked up by KennyS, so clearly as he's down to 21 health, he'd rather run with the AK. Meanwhile, Astralis, this is where the lack of utility and the lack of kits is going to hurt them significantly. Do they try some kind of aggro push as a result of this? I think
this would be so funny if the MAC-10 just got 2 headshots right now.
Oh my, this could be playing right into the advantage. They almost get in each other's way. It was so close, but Happy is a dead man regardless. And now the push comes on to B, so they would have called there's 2 players, and one of them is very low. dupreeh now has been finished off. Second player gets flashed. That's going to be Kjaerbye. He did get a kill before dropping. The bomb's going to get planted, and now a 3-on-2 retake. What do Astralis do here? Do they even fancy this retake? They've got no kits. They've only got a flashbang.
No, they're smoked out. It's known to Envy that they're the A players. There's really just no options in this moment. They don't have a kit. They don't have nades. They can't even section off the site to make it a 2v2. They can't smoke out tunnels. And they have no one in position to get there fast enough either. So no sense in going for this, unfortunately. And very lackluster defense on the side of Astralis to try to work against that mid B. They ended up killing the only man in tunnel, and then both coming into the site, not even looking at tunnel, couldn't deal with their own choke points. So good stuff by EnVyUs, and it looks like a couple of them just KennyS took that damage early on. NBK did get put into a position where it was worse for wear at this moment. dupreeh also hurt right here, so there's that initial damage, and yeah, no way to get in. Tough sledding, man.
Astralis just haven't really seemed to have shown up today in either of these maps. They've been struggling throughout. It's going to be more of the same you have to feel here in this round. Just 2 M4s to play with. They've got Kevlar on dupreeh, but go out peeking. And KennyS will put both Zipex and Glaive down, who clearly were on a suicide mission. He will oblige them and administer the euthanasia. Now Kjaerbye, close range. Nothing he can do against that from Apex. Headshot instantly. Now it's up to dupreeh with his 5-7. He's going to get Apex from behind. Can he get himself the hands on the weapon? Yes, he can. He does have Kevlar, so maybe he can pull off a hero play, or maybe he'll just get instantly wrecked by Happy. And our device is CZ in a 1-on-4 to try and salvage round 20.
This would be definitely play of the month, I think. This low HP, nobody goes down. EnVyUs are 1 away from match point, just two points away from just 2 very decisive victories. And I wanted to say Astralis maybe had a little bit more to look forward to on Dust2, but it seems like they've got just a ton of stuff to work on. Glaive's actually 4-17, and this is actually, I think all 4 of his kills were headshots, and I was talking about his HSP or something like that, but yeah, if you don't get any kills that aren't headshots, and just make sure the kills you do get are headshots, you can keep that average really nice and really high. So, but that's a rough scoreline for sure.
Happy is the first player to eat a bit of damage, down to 60. And Device now up on the catwalk. We saw Kenny pick up 3 kills from here earlier on. He decided to go for the re-peaks. How's Device going to factor? Well, the answer is an insta-tag and just wanting to drop out of there. Here comes the retaliation. Grenades being thrown up in the face of Astralis. Apex going to be going in. He does get dropped, though, from Glaive, who picks up a pretty crucial 5th frag for himself. What? But Happy then just rails Device. So you couldn't see a single thing through the smoke. He will be put down afterwards. It's now on Kenny. The way he's been playing, you wouldn't necessarily write them off from this kind of a scenario, but it's going to be an uphill struggle for sure.
Is there a kill to be
That's
had?
the first one.
Yeah. And, oh, he spots him. dupreeh also looking for that fight too. Geez, trying to bait out the shot and makes it happen. Would have been more contentious there on Cat as well. 2 more players to kill afterwards. So, and Astralis went around, but will it be on an island? And honestly, like it's just over if they lose this. Just buying down to 0. I mean, even between the 3 of the players left remaining, they had to make up for the fact that nobody else had any money. So this could be it. This could be the telling. This could be the round.
This could very well be the map in the balance. Completely correct that if Astralis lose this, it's hard to see what they fall back on. Devices missed that first shot. Looking for the second one, partially through the catwalk wall.
Oh my gosh.
Happy spraying down, lands it onto dupreeh. And that's got to be a heartbreaking kill to concede. It just seems so random at that point. But now Glaive is going to go one-on-one with SIXER. Does come out the best. NBK is eating damage. Flash into the eyes of Astralis.
Oh, they know Glaive is so far back at long as well. They've also pushed their only player at A into CT spawn. The smokes come out. The plant will happen, and it's going to be Cat with Happy still at mid to catch rotators. The ideal setup for you as a terrorist. Oh! Until an insane flash comes out, and your man to catch the flank was projected to get 2 kills, gets 0. And now you don't have man advantage anymore, so...
Intelligent though from Astralis. They must have read that Happy was that kind of play, but there's the spray. As soon as you see the flash come down, it stands to good reason. They're probably going to have a terrorist pushing after it. Here comes NBK though with 1 frag. Can't get any more from it. It's going to fall to KennyS once again in a 1-on-3. He's trying his best to defend this one. Does land another exquisite shot, but there's too many AKs pointed in his direction. Is there even enough time here? Yes, there is just about. As Astralis will stick on the defuse. 14-8, a must-win round. Does go their way. But EnVyUs will be coming right back in with another buy. Yeah,
that was a round where everything went the way of Astralis, just very fortunately. Even the flash, I think Happy was in a position where the flash went deep enough that you thought it might even be blocked off by the bit of the wall on the right side, but it wasn't, and so he got full blind. But then further, Xyp9x dropping in or having to face someone dropping into spawn and then getting that kill full blind. Very fortunate headshot. For sure, and that makes you wonder, you know, can they do this? Can they do this again?
Device narrowly missing out onto Apex as he crossed on the mid doors. There was a flash accompanying it, so but you see a great deal. Kjærbye has 8 a bit of damage. NBK goes looking, but there's a molly in his face, so he's not going to bother pushing just yet. That had landed. That would have been rivaling one of KennyS's shots there. Just misses out. Again, though, information has been called and the device instantly scampers away. This is going to give up a bit of mid-control up close and personal, but of course they have it on the overview from device, as Kenny is going to go looking out first with his AWP. Oh, dupreeh, that timing could not have been worse for him. Xyp9x is going to try and get the spray, does land it, and the bomb gets dropped out in the middle of nowhere. Device does land a shot onto SIXER too. Nice turn of events for Astralis. It's Apex now. And it's his job to spray down with the AK. Bomb's going to get planted, 3-on-3 retake.
Everything almost went extremely well. They even caught SIXER on that lurk, who came out just a bit early, jumping down. But Happy, once again, putting himself in an advantageous position, decided to go for information, and his play would be correct. Now he has this flank. I mean, this round is pretty much sealed up as long as no one's watching it, and which you wouldn't expect them to. I mean, they're deciding to come through door and window right now. This should be an easy round locked up.
Yeah, if they don't die to KennyS, it's going to be from Happy, who's coming up round the back of them. It's actually Apex, close range, executing Glaive. And Astralis, well, how's your funds looking? They're going to be able to force out a couple of M4s, but other than that, it's going to be pistols, maybe.
Oh, that's just unlucky. I mean, he was just jump spotting, right? That was like, if KennyS would have only held that angle for maybe one more moment and then switched to something else, and just as that happens, dupreeh decides to do what's typically a really safe option, which is the jump spot. You know, to actually not fully peek. It's I guess the equivalent of a shoulder peek in some ways, but KennyS is fast, so.
Happy did significant damage to Kjærbye there as he was trying to deagle through the smoke.
Yeah, he's been dominating over at B and able to, if not get a kill, do a lot of damage, as I said.
Oh, that spray. Glaive, a dead man. It's up to Xyp9x now to try and hold off, stave off the push if they so choose through the smoke. Is being flirted with. They're going to stay on catwalk. Last time actually rotated through mid after this. I'll look to apply the pressure elsewhere. But Kjærbye is getting a lot of information. if EnVyUs don't push in the next 15 to 20 seconds, Kjaerbye probably is going to be in the money for some kills, or at least some vital info for the rest of his team. Now in the T-spawn, he's going to spot SIXER and will connect the shot. I was curious if he was going to wait a little while longer. But now seeing SIXER there by himself, it's very likely it's going to be a catwalk push. So Astralis are in prime position to hold this off, but NBK with a beautiful headshot onto dupreeh opens this round back up once again. And although Apex has gone down, KennyS is going to have to take point. He spots the first player, lands it onto device. He's going to be shifting his aim across, lands the no-scope, and surely you can't pull this off, KennyS. This would be too disgusting. He's going to fake out the plant, still assuming that the last remaining Astralis member is on catwalk. Kjaerby's actually coming up from CT spawn. Trying to keep this up close and personal.
Okay, so now he's got a couple options. CT will be the first, and that's it. The headshot and the game. 3 kills, 28 in total. And KennyS pulls off the insane 1v3. Beautiful stuff. Wow.
Man, he dropped to 28 for 10. And it was 16-8. There was still so much more CS to be played.
And just the movement there, knowing that someone was going to come cat, and then being able to get up on the railing and then off to the plant. Man, this guy is so on point.
Absolutely nuts today, wasn't he? Just unbelievably good. On both maps, he didn't slow down at all. It was that question, you know, is the same KennyS going to show up on Dust 2? Yeah, he definitely is. And just have this crazy dominant performance. So Astralis, over the duration of 2 maps, picked up, what, 12 rounds, I think? They got 8 there and 4 in the first one. That's a pretty poor showing over the space of 2 maps.
Definitely. And I think one of the main things is SIXER played pretty well. I mean, really well, actually. And Glaive played really badly, for sure, especially on Dust 2. I mean, I'm not sure so much about Nuke. I think he was struggling a little bit in the first half. Well, there wasn't really a second half to talk about. So, yeah, everybody could kind of contribute in a bad way on Nuke. But, yeah, it has struggle city for Glaive.
For sure, but that's going to do it for the EU side of ECS today, but we still have plenty of NA matches coming up. So when you rejoin us, we'll be live for the NA side. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.